deep in the reads. I hope you guys all had happy holidays, Christmas, New Year's, whatever it is you happen to celebrate. I know I did, because I happened to get this brand new bookshelf, courtesy of my mom, who made it herself, and I helped just a little bit. Anyway, as you can see, my current bookshelf that I'm using is crammed so full of books that I literally can't fit anymore. I've got a bunch of them just kind of scattered all around my apartment. So in this video, I'm going to move all of this into all of here. And you're going to watch it and you're going to like it. And then I'm also going to talk about some of the books that I've gotten recently, as well as give you a little bookshelf tour when I'm all done. So won't that be fun? Anyway, let's start by moving all of this shit out and just bringing it onto the floor, and then we'll go from there. Yeah. And we are done. Now, you see this? This is why it's important to have adequate shelving for your books, because otherwise you'll be up to your ankles in stuff that you don't even remember buying, okay? Now, let's get this all out of the way so that I can bring my old bookshelf through and put my new bookshelf in its place. All right. Okay, so I think I got it where I want it. Now, the next step, obviously, is to take this shelf and fill it. And the first thing I'm going to do is try to fit all of my art books that I currently have in a big ugly pile over there into a nice, neat row on this bottom here. Crossing my fingers and hoping that it works out, but if it doesn't, I'm sure I'll think of something. Yeah, let's start doing that.
She asked me why. I just went on and told her.
Is that it? Is that it for my art books? Holy shit, and I have so much room left over. Oh, I was struggling to find a place for these for so long. I mean, I know there's a couple that are still like lying around my apartment, but yeah, it's definitely all gonna fit. That is such a load off my mind. Awesome. Okay, next shelf then.
I just went on and told her.
Alright, after a ton of sorting and resorting and shuffling shit around, I finally got my books in an acceptable order, at least for now. And yeah, I just can't overstate how many more books fit in this shelf than were able to fit into my previous shelf. Like, right there, I had those piles of art books, but they all fit right here in this bottom row, so really good stuff. And then a bunch of books that I just had laying around my apartment randomly also fit in here. So, you know, this is really great that I'm able to fit all this. I had to move that poster I got from an old video rental store over there and replace it with some lovely pin-up vintagey looking posters. But yeah, a lot of this is basically the same order as before. My fiction's on the top from A to Z, it ends about there, and then the rest is all non-fiction, so you can see where my bread is buttered. I've got my art sketchbooks down there, which again, didn't normally fit in my bookshelf. I usually keep them in a drawer with all my art supplies. So being able to do that is really cool. And the other thing is, this shelf is giving like a really nice scent to my apartment. It's like this really nice wooden smell, so I guess this is the gift that keeps on giving. Oh, by the way, that's one of my drawings, in case you like seeing my drawings. There's one. Yeah, my Penguin Classics are all up here. I got my Fiddlehead literary journal stuff there. My cremated cat, the baby from Eraserhead. It's all here. So yeah, that is my new bookshelf. hope this is entertaining and not just boring shit. But anyway, yeah, that's it. I got it. It's done. Yeah. Look, I'm just like a regular booktuber now. I have this big ass bookshelf behind me so that you can be jealous of how many books I have and can afford and all that other stuff. Speaking of rubbing material possessions in your face, I wanted to do one more thing in this video before I go, and that is to talk about the 5 books I've accumulated over the holiday season. 3 of which were my own splurges, and 2 of which were gifts. So, right off the top, Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert. This is a famous French novel, and I've been having really good luck with famous French novels in 2023. Hunchback of Notre Dame, Germinal, also the year before that was The Stranger by Albert Camus, and I really liked all of them. So, you know, Madame Bovary is something I've been interested to read for years and years, and we just happened to cross paths. I was in a thrift store, I saw this edition with a really nice, like, smug cover for $1.50. Madame Bovary is about a woman who cheats on her husband and has sexual relations. And apparently this book was really scandalous when it came out in the mid-1800s. It's like a really good character study that's richly depthful in its psychological portrayals. I don't know for sure, that's what I've heard. So yeah, that's one book I got. The next book, this one I got for Christmas. It is another book that I've been wanting to read for ages, The Making of the English Working Class by E.P. Thompson. This book was, again, pretty wave-making when it came out in 1963. This is, of course, like a mega long, mega detailed history of the working class in England during the Industrial Revolution. I know a little bit about this period, like the strikes and the horrible working conditions and horrible living conditions and company towns where every dollar you made would go right back into the pocket of the people exploiting you. Like, a lot of literature has come out from this time period and how it's affected working conditions today, and you know, the rise of the labor unions and socialism and communism all came from the frustrations of this period. So this is an important subject. I'm very much looking forward to reading it and really doing a deep dive, and hopefully this will set the groundwork for later theory books that I would love to get into. Hopefully this book will go some ways into providing me with that context. And then, speaking of providing myself with context, this next book was another really thrifty find. This is Emulation, David Drouet and Giraudet in the Art of Revolutionary France by Thomas Crow. Thomas Crow is an art historian and critical theorist. His works are often recommended for people that are doing their master's degree. And because this book is required reading for so many Masters of Art History students, it's usually obscenely expensive. I'm talking like somewhere between $70 and $90, but I found this used for $9, and I was like, oh my god! I grabbed it and I'm just like, I don't care how much the shipping is. So I'm really excited to dive deep into it, and especially because the main focus of this is Jacques-Louis David, the pioneer of the neoclassical style of painting in 18th century France. He's one of my favorite painters of all time. He has one of the most turbulent lives of any renowned artist you could probably find. He switched sides between being part of the revolution, part of the monarchical restoration, part of Napoleon's upper caste of court painters. Like, this guy was really interesting, and you could call his style like the birth of modern art, where it's revolutionary, where it's pressing these strong political stances. It's really interesting stuff. So this guy is apparently like the master of writing about this stuff, so I just can't wait to dig into it. Then we have this massive biography on Joseph Stalin. This book covers Stalin from birth to just before the Bolsheviks took power, or around that time, in 1917, which means there's like 7 years of a gap between this book and Stalin actually coming to power. So rather than this book dealing with Stalin in power with an iron fist, it's him doing everything he can to manipulate his way into that power and how it shaped who he was to become, which was a monster. So I'm really curious to read this, and yeah, another thrifty find, because this book is like $40 or $50 Canadian when it's new. I found this discounted all the way down to $12, so I'm like, I want it. Especially when I like checked online and found out this is actually a pretty well regarded biography on Stalin. Because, you know, usually when I see a really big history book that's discounted, I'm like, maybe it doesn't have a good reputation. And then I went online and I'm like, oh, people are crazy about this book apparently. Apparently it's really good. So I'm like, oh my god, okay, I'll buy it, fuck it. And then the final book that I want to show here, The Last Art College by Gary Neil Kennedy. Now, this book is about the Nova Scotia College of Art and Design from 1968 to 1978. Why do I have this? Well, it's because that's the university that I went to. I mean, they called it a university when I was going there, but earlier on it used to be a college. I don't know what the technical details of that are, but it'll be interchangeable whether I refer to it as a college or a university. But anyway, for 10 years, NASCAD University was on the cutting edge of the art world. It just so happens that the art that was being produced at the time is the art that I'm the least knowledgeable about, probably. Like all that like postmodernist, like conceptual art, and oh, what is art? Maybe art can just be instructions about how to make a piece. Like, please put 1,000,000 pennies on the floor of your gallery. That will be the art piece. Stuff like that. And, you know, I'm a little bit more of a fine artist. I'm a little bit more of like a social realist or an expressionist. I don't really go in for this like super abstract, ooh, it's so deep, why is there a fridge in the middle of this gallery? I don't know. But I would like to get a little bit more familiar with that art style, even though it doesn't always speak to me. So what better place to start than this book, which talks about that brief moment in time when NASCAD was not just a very relevant art university, but it was the art university. It was drawing in artists from all over the world who had big reputations: Saul DeWitt, Klaus Oldenburg, Barbara Kruger, people like that. They were coming and they were getting honorary degrees and they were taking courses at NASCAD because that's where like the real avant-garde shit was happening. So yeah, can't wait to read it. And yeah, so those are the books that I picked up recently, and I am very excited to get into them. So yeah, thank you for watching this mess of a video where I put a bookshelf together and talked about books I recently got. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm deep in the reads. I will be back for more book reviews and my top 5 reads of 2023 and whatever else. Thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, commenting, doing all those things. And happy reading, everybody. Happy
2024.
See you later.